And hey there, hi there, ho there, and a gracious good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, emanating from WCHR, as we explained to you last week. That's Worldwide's Cozy Home Residence. As Jeff does all the mechanics for us on Skype. All we do is try to figure out how to get on and talk with you. We have a great show lined up for you today. Yes, we do have some great sports news for UofL women's athletics for you. And also, of course, we will have a quiz later on in the show to see with all four of us here, three participating in the quiz, me as quiz master. We'll see if Case can hold on to his winning streak of one. And whether Jared, who has been the New York Yankees, the dominator of this quiz, can take his rightful crown back again. We shall see all that, but certainly let's get into a little bit of the normal things we do here to start out the show. I'm going to bring in Case Hoskins for Twitter information and whatever you want to talk about on schedule, Case. It's totally up to you, Case.
Nothing on schedule. It's just I don't want to talk about anything because there's nothing to talk about, right? But anyway, as you mentioned, the Twitter accounts. I tweet is at best case scenario. Jared tweets is at Mr. Anderson Jared. He was venting about amusement parks this week. It's always good to see Jared's Twitter in a week where he's at an amusement park, because then you get to see his feelings on all amusement parks and how the one is going.
Yeah, a little problem with Dollywood there, huh, bud?
Yeah, they need to figure out how to social distance better other than just the rides themselves. Because if you're shoulder to shoulder in a tight line, then what's the difference on a 90-second ride after you've waited in line with the same person for over an hour?
Yeah, they should really skip queue. Well, do they have the chains for their queues, or do they have solid bars on the turns?
It's just kind of normal amusement park queue lines, and for a little bit they had little stickers that said social distance 6 feet here, but most of the people there refused to go by those, and there was nobody there to enforce it. And then one of the things is, if you're only going to have your trains on your coasters about 25 to 50% full, you should probably have all the trains running at the same time to help keep them coming through the station more often to get more people through.
Yeah. Truly a shame.
They were only in their it was only their third day having be reopened, so I guess they're still learning. And then the rain that afternoon kind of cleared a lot of people out, so that made a nice the later part of the day.
Well, there you go. Jeff tweets is at Jeff McAdams and at Card Couple Radio. Standard disclaimer on Card Couple Radio's activity.
Yeah.
On this time.
I haven't touched it in a while. Yeah.
It's going to auto-log you out. Good luck remembering the password.
Yeah.
And Paulie tweets is at Cardinal Couple. Brought a few of his tweets from down in the Tennessee area this week. So, welcome back to both of you.
Certainly, Case, and I want to take just a second to extend a special thank you to you and Jeff for bravely carrying on the Cardinal Couple column for the week that Jared and I were out. Certainly, we had a great time doing the things we do down in the Gatlinburg area, but a lot of times I was not able to get a signal, and so consequently did not catch up with everything until last night that you guys did.
Yep.
Everything looked fantastic. Y'all did a wonderful job, and thanks so much for stepping in there and getting on base safely, huh?
Yeah. Glad to help out. I think we both kind of had topics last minute kind of fall in our laps for each day, so it worked out not too bad. It's always a little dicey in the summer, but worked out for us. So.
Certainly so, and some of those, of course, we'll cover in today's show. I think that have they finally compressed the schedule there, Case? What are you seeing on that?
Well, it won't compress until next month when July hits, when there's actually nothing on the calendar. Just because they don't change it in the middle of the the month layout, but when you flip over to July, interestingly enough, it doesn't do anything until you hit collapse. But yeah, you can crunch it down, and the schedule is a lot tighter on the web page.
Yeah, on the screen. Yeah.
So we do know of a couple of things that are going on. First of all, we know that we have two Louisville softball players that are participating in the Florida Gulf Coast Summer Softball League. Of course, Jordan Wolf, outfielder that we've watched for quite a while, and also Paige Schindler, who's kind of been a pitcher, kind of been a utility player for the Cards, are both playing for the Manatee Squeeze in the league. We do know that they are 1-1 in 2 games so far. They did lose the season opener 2-1 on Thursday, but came back and won last night 7-3, highlighted by a 6th inning that featured 6 runs. Unfortunately, since I haven't chosen the pay-per-view or pay-for information option that they have there, I couldn't get any stats on how any of our 2 individual players have done, but certainly we'll look for tweets out of UofL and maybe them and others to see how they're enjoying things so far. From what I understand, and maybe you know more about this case, they have got these girls on a pretty rigorous schedule, and they're playing 5 times a week.
Yeah, they're playing every day, generally except for Sunday and Wednesday. Not sure what the scheduling quirk on Wednesday is, but I did find on the FGCL Facebook page when I was doing some more digging around on Thursday morning that they are in a relationship with like a Fellowship of Christian Athletes group, so that's why they don't have any games on Sundays, because they do service and worship and that kind of thing going on there. So that's why no Sunday games, but Wednesdays. Not sure what the relationship is there. Probably just a midweek off day.
I've got to wonder too, especially with according to what they're saying about the coronavirus, there's a marked uptick and increase in the virus in Florida over the last week or so. I'm wondering if there is any fan in attendance on these, and just kind of worried about the safety of our girls down there. Were you able to find out whether people were able to attend these games or not, Case? I don't have any idea.
I didn't see anything yes or no about that, but based on the information that I've seen coming out about some of the pro leagues that are trying to get underway in Florida that would not be having fans, I would assume that a league like this would not be allowed to have fans. That's just an assumption, not based on anything other than speculation.
Jared, what you got to add on this? I know you, like me, you were out last week on that, but certainly Wolf was a good outfielder for the Cardinals, and we certainly hope that Paige Schindler's getting a chance to pitch some. What else can you add to this at all? I mean, tell me.
I think the biggest thing really is just being able to play some softball right now and not get rusty from the off season, especially the shortened softball season. So personally, I wish we would have had the opportunity to see more of our players join the league. I'm not sure what the qualifications were, or if it's just whoever wanted to play. But at least for Jordan Wolf and Paige Schindler, as they prepare for their senior year next season, this will be a good way to increase their skills a little bit and make sure they stay in shape when it is time for softball. So I'm not sure it's as much about the wins and losses right now as is it just the chance to play.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more Cardinals involved in it as well. Jeff, the concept of this league, what if, let's play a what if. What if they keep on having a higher and higher report of the COVID-19 virus cases down there in Florida? At what point in time do you say, hey, we maybe need to set this thing aside? This probably has me pretty worried here.
Yeah, it really does. Florida's struggling with the COVID-19 issues right now, seemingly based on the numbers we're hearing out of it. There's some back and forth on that. Different people are making different claims, but the numbers coming out don't look great. to be honest. I don't know how much that their setup with the FGCL is the bubble. I'm putting air quotes up. The bubble type of concept that the NBA is going with, for example, with what they're proposing for their league and at Disney, where they have some isolation of the group, contest within the group, and have some confidence that the spread of COVID-19 within the group is limited, even if not in the overall state. You know, the NBA has a whole lot more money to be able to try to pull something like that off. So my guess is the FGCL is not able to do that anywhere to near the same degree. So I suspect it's not happening. I don't know how long this is supposed to go on. This league is. It may be short enough that it's like, well, let's finish it out and get everybody back home as we start to see increases. But if it's long enough, then it may be something that they may have to say, you know what, we got to put a stop to it. It sucks to do that, but like shutting down spring sports sucked as well. But you know, it's the responsible thing to do eventually. So hopefully,
Yeah, hopefully so. Pros and cons here. One of the pros is it's an outdoor sport, so they're not in an enclosed arena where the air is being breathed over and over again by crowds and players and such. Second of all, softball, a relatively non-contact sport, obviously, where they're not huddling, where they're not getting into scrums or anything like that. Basically, the dugouts might be a little bit of an issue where everybody's sitting there next to each other. Also, let's say if you get a triple and you end up on third base, it's a good thing Celine Funky isn't playing in the league. And you're talking to the third base coach, or you're social distancing, and when the catcher runs out to talk to the pitcher, how close is their conversation, things like that.
yeah. Well, and I think there may be even more concern about inter-team interactions at that point. If you're on first base and the first baseman's covering you, that's some proximity there. If you're up to bat, you've got the batter, you've got the catcher, you've got an umpire there that are all in relatively close proximity. You know, and like you said, if you get on third, okay, you've run around, you know, from home to third. If you got a triple, like a Celine Funky triple, you know, Celine Funky's in pretty good shape. She may not be breathing hard. I surely would be by the time I got to third base. You know, but you know, there's a little bit more physical exertion. You're breathing harder. You're having more inhalation and exhalation, and that adds to the virus spread if somebody is unknowingly carrying it. So there are some concerns there. It is a more spaced out game, like you mentioned, sport, but there's still some places where it's a little concerning.
Well, we certainly wish both players the best of health down there. Let's hope that they have a good time of it down there as far as their hitting and fielding and pitching goes. I will endeavor, now that we're back from vacation, to dig into this a little deeper starting next week. See if I can get a little more information out of our own softball SID, Lori Cordy Harmon, and also find what I can find to keep you all updated on these Cardinal athletics down in it's got to be a muggy summer kind of down in Florida to play softball right now. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's Florida. It's, you know, it's probably going to rain in the afternoon, and, you know, it's going to be humid. But it's, you know, you do tend to get a little bit of an offshore breeze typically, you know. So Bradenton is, the Bradenton-Tampa area is along the coast. It's not like you're in Orlando in the middle of it. That gets a little, you know, calmer and stiller. I'm sure you get a little bit of offshore breeze in that area, so that helps a little.
It is the warm Gulf Coast, though.
It is, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not quite the cooler Atlantic out there, but yeah.
Also got a message out to David Watson, our good friend down in Florida, who follows and comments and occasionally writes here, to see what else he can dig up on the league. He being, of course, in Bradenton, maybe he can fill us in on a little bit more information on that.
I did just
Monday.
find out they are having fans allowed at the games.
Nice.
That's good. I'm sure, because everybody likes to play in front of a crowd. I just hope that they're following the proper social distancing and and things like that. I don't know. Based on what I saw in Gatlinburg, boys, in that part of the state down there, masks are an afterthought and a definite minority.
Yeah, I went shopping the other day, and there was definitely fewer people wearing masks than when I had previously. Now, it'd been 3 or 4 weeks, actually. I don't go shopping all that often, grocery shopping. So I'm seeing the same sort of change, and it's concerning.
It is for me, I guarantee you.
Yep.
Monday afternoon, the news broke. Case had the article on Tuesday. Her name is Malaya Williams. She's a 6'4" center out of Scott County, Kentucky. Played for Kentucky Premier. She is the latest 2020 member of the University of Louisville women's basketball team. The Cards beating out Syracuse, Northern Kentucky, and Western Kentucky, and some other schools for her services. Case, tell me about this girl.
Yeah, this is an incredibly late ad for a sport that is going to kick off presumably in about 4 months, 4 to 5 months. So to get a signee after they've already graduated, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen on occasion. So Malia Williams, like you mentioned, she's out of Scott County High School. She is, well, I guess today we'll find out if she's going to be named Miss Kentucky basketball. Next week, the 28th. I knew I saw that somewhere. She finished her senior year with almost 20 points per game, 14 rebounds, and 2 assists. She scored over 1,300 points and had over 1,100 rebounds in her college career. A really late bloomer, really didn't start to pick up a lot of interest or expand her presence on the court until after her sophomore year, which led to not a huge number of colleges vying for her attention, but she did pick Louisville over a couple of in-state schools, and Syracuse in particular. She mentioned that she did want to stay close to home, so Syracuse was probably going to be one of the later thoughts anyway. But getting the opportunity to go to Louisville, she gets a premier team, as well as that opportunity to stay close to home. So I think it's a really good fit for her. Louisville had some scholarships open, like we've talked about, after the transfer's out. So this is going to fill one of those. She'll redshirt this year to focus on her academics, and to get up to the playing condition that Jeff Walz thinks that she's capable of and wants for his team. And we'll see what she's got in the following season.
Certainly will on that, taking the Molly Lockhart route of kind of sitting out a year before getting involved again. But Jared, this was a surprise to me. Jeff Walz had come out and said in one of his teleconferences, I'm not adding anybody to the 2020 class. I know we've got a lot of fans, though, Jared, that are very happy that we've added height to this roster, right?
I think height was one of those concerns we had talked about with the departure of Bianca and Kylie. So maybe this is just a looking ahead to the future type ordeal where he wants to have a little more height just in case, because you never know how your players will work out, if they're going to be a good fit, if they're going to develop how you hope. So sometimes having that extra player or two does give you a bit of a cushion to lean on in case you need it. Plus, I know that Coach Walz said that he wasn't planning on getting anybody, but sometimes if the opportunity presents itself, you just go on and take that opportunity.
Romani Parker, 6'4", has used up her redshirt year and will be a redshirt freshman on the squad this year. She's out of Fresno. So there is some height on this roster, I think, Jeff. I think you can honestly say that. And then we've also got some mid-range players, in addition to Parker and Dixon, 6'1", 6'2", that have got some incredible leaping capabilities, incredible hops, I guess you could say. So is height really that much of a concern, do you think?
I've always said that it's not an overriding concern. It's definitely a nice to have. I've always been in the camp of I'd rather have a good player that's maybe not as tall compared to someone who's taller that can't take advantage of that with their skills. So, but yeah, if all of the things are being equal, absolutely height is a help, and having some height is a help on the team. Taller players tend to be a little less able to be quick in their movements. So you need some of the shorter players for some of the defensive prowess sometimes. But absolutely, if you've got some big, tall post players down there, we saw how Kylie Shook changed the game once she got her blocking game and going again, and was able to hang on to the ball a little better. That was one of the complaints about her for a long time, is not having great handles on the ball. As she did that, she really changed the game, and changed it for the other players on the team, because teams were having to react to her more. So, yeah, absolutely can help. I don't think it's the end all be all, but it's a big component of it.
And Jared, let's not forget about two very, very good freshmen coming onto this team as well this year as well. In addition to Miss Williams, we have Olivia Cochran. We also have Marissa Russell here. They're nothing to sneeze at, are they now, pal?
Oh, not at all. I think he's got a pretty stacked and talented roster coming up. Now, granted, we never really know how a freshman is going to do coming out of high school until they actually step foot on the court in college, just because the difference in just pretty much everything between high school basketball and college basketball. Although these players do seem like they're already pretty well adjusted, ready to go, and then we do have a fantastic coaching staff that we can trust and rely on to get these players prepared and ready to go by the time the season starts.
We'll certainly see how that works out, but the concern that fans had this time last year about who's going to replace all this height we had, not to worry. There's height on this roster now.
And more yet to come.
And more on the way. That's right.
Yeah.
Sydney Shetland, of course, going to be on campus next year. And
not this coming year, but the year after, yes.
Yes. Going to turn a lot of heads, I do believe, with her skills, not only on the basketball court, but also in Cardinal Arena, the Ellen and Federal Credit Union volleyball venue, where she's admittedly just as good, if not even better, volleyball player than she is a basketball player.
Yep.
So that could be very interesting to see if she eventually decides to go one way or another on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the term student athlete. We saw some great academic results for the University of Louisville women's programs, Jeff, that you wrote about earlier this week. So these girls are getting it done in the classroom, aren't they?
Yeah, so the ACC honor roll list came out, and there was 413, do I have that right? Yeah. Student athletes across the whole athletic department, that's men and women. I highlighted some of the women in there because that's obviously our area where we focus on. Highlighted how many from each team of the women's sports that we had. Too many names to list them all. That would have taken me hours even to just type them in. But yeah, this is a great thing. This is not a super stringent honor. It's a 3.0 GPA for a varsity player. So it's not the most stringent academic honor out there, but when you I think the interesting note in that is just the sheer numbers. This is the record number of student athletes for UofL for this honor since we've been in the ACC. I think there were 380 some last year, and I think that was a record too at the time. So continues to increase. Had several teams that were very, very close to having every player on the team make this honor. Not quite. I don't think any of them quite reached that number. A couple of them were one or two players away, but yeah, I mean it's great to see. It does show that academics is taken very seriously within the athletic department at UofL.
Also got the great deal of pride in seeing that our student athletes who can basically be classified as English as a second language students came in from international venues, did quite well in that as well too, Jeff.
Yeah, I mentioned a few of those in there. That wasn't highlighted in the UofL release, but it's something that I always keep in mind. I like to shout that out because it's an extra thing that some of these players have to deal with as a challenge. and some of them may be coming from a situation where English is a very common second language, but it's typically not a second language for some of these people. Yeah, okay, so there's, we got a soccer player from Quebec, right? I'm not going to list her because Quebec is dual language, French and English, right? French may be her primary language, but she probably has been exposed to quite a bit in English, so that's not that big a deal. But you've got Noriko Kono, that managed to still spell her name wrong, coming from Japan, that doesn't have English as a primary language, that has a little bit of struggle with the English language. She's succeeding in the classroom despite that. Meche Pasteur is Argentinian, and so she's got Spanish as her primary language and coming in here. And again, she's in industrial engineering. This is not a lightweight course of study that she's taking, and she's dealing with it in a foreign language. So some of those that I highlighted that are just add to that level of respect for me to say, yeah, okay, I recognize this additional challenge that you have doing this. Some of this came out of the fact that I was dealing this week with some folks that work for a global company, and I was dealing with some folks on the other side of the world, and there were some language challenges in dealing with them. So it kind of highlighted for me that, hey, this is an important thing. So
let's take it to some of our more recent graduates here. Case, you were in the University of Louisville Speed School, perhaps one of the finest colleges on the campus. I'm sure that there were a few, if not, a good number of actual exchange students from foreign countries in the speed school with you. Did you ever speak, or how did they do with the English as a second language type of factor?
It's always interesting because in engineering classes you don't ask a lot of questions in class. The speed school is not named that because it's fast, right? It's named that because it's named after a person, but it is a jam-packed course load always. So all of your courses are moving quickly. I have to imagine that students who have English as a second language had to have foreign language tutors to help assist them, but also a lot of the teachers at speed school are English as a second language, which is fantastic because it provides a different source of knowledge from different people for all of the students there. But it's really the language barrier is kind of not there so much for engineering because engineering is mostly math. It's pretty universal. It's challenging to be taught some concepts maybe if you're having trouble with it explained to you, but speed school is actually a pretty big melting pot of people from all over, both from the staff and student side.
And Gerald, I'll go to you with this as well. As a photographer for us, and of course for River City Cards, you interact with the student athletes on a big basis during the year. You've also gotten to forge friendships with a lot of our international students. Just talk about what you've seen in their accomplishments trying to do this as a second language and make good grades.
The most difficult part about a lot of those international students is just the adjustment to the culture here. And that could be learning the English language. It could be just certain customs here, how people act and react to certain things over here versus other places. So I think that's almost like taking a second full load of courses in its own, just because of what you have to learn and adapt to so quickly. And we see that with a lot of different sports. It's not like it's just one or two sports at UofL. It's pretty well rounded among all the different 21 Division I sports that UofL offers. But we do have a fantastic support staff, and athletics does have a department that is there dedicated to assisting the international students between both academics and the athletic side of things. So I guess it makes it a little bit easier in that aspect, although I still can't imagine it'd be the easiest thing in the world either. But it's nice to know that UofL puts a heavy emphasis on making sure the international student athletes feel welcome here.
Ever since the Cardinals joined the ACC, I've noticed each year the academic success rates keep getting higher and higher. Obviously, we're in a conference. We take schools, obviously, like Duke, Wake Forest, Virginia, North Carolina schools that have very, very high academic standards. And for us to be in that mix, we had to step up our game, didn't we, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of discussion when we joined the ACC back in the early 2010s that this is going to provide an opportunity and a challenge and a juxtaposition that would encourage U of L to up their academic game to match up with some of our conference mates. If there was any knock on U of L's candidacy to the ACC, it might have been the academics. Academics even then were good. It was a good school. It just wasn't, the ACC caliber. We have a lot of quite good schools. So, and props to our conference mates that there are so many really good schools out there that are pushing the bar on that. So, there's resources available now. Having joined the ACC, that there's some conference resources available to support that. And there's obviously been some changes at U of L, both in the athletic department and in the overall university, that I think pretty much everyone looks at and says, wow, we moved in the right direction there, for at least most things, if not everything. I like where the school is going. Even taking it out of the context of athletics, I like where the University of Louisville is going from an academic and social responsibility type of position. So I'm a big fan of the leadership. Dr. Bindapudi is doing some amazing things, and I applaud her greatly. I think it's worthwhile to shout that out as a positive.
Earlier this week, you also spotlighted one of those administrators in Amy Calabrese, formerly Amy Say.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very nice profile and piece on her, sir. Just talk about some of the things that she's enacted that you've been particularly impressed by.
Yeah, I don't know specific details of some of the things that she's done. She was a soccer player, as I mentioned in my piece. Started at U of L in 2003. Started as a starter that season. Played every minute of that season and the next one at the very least, and was a starter, I believe, her junior year at least as well. She was a very fine soccer player. She's always been fun to talk to. I've enjoyed talking to her in the chances that I've gotten to do that. Great sense of humor, very pleasant. She is there, and she is supportive of the teams that she oversees: soccer, lacrosse, field hockey, softball, I believe, is the other one that she specifically oversees. She's there and supportive and positive towards them, and it's great to see that. She has some roles in interacting with, I believe it mentioned the dean, the dean of academics, and also apparently, and I don't think I put this in the article, oversees the student athlete housing. So if a student athlete has an issue with housing, then they can pull her into that as a resource for them to use as well. So that's kind of cool. She's great. Person that I've been pleasant to have the pleasant opportunities to talk to in the past. So that's great. She's getting involved in this NCAA Pathway program, which is a training program, I guess, professional development program to try to prepare athletic department administrators to be athletic directors in the top job in athletic departments, or potentially conference commissioners. This suggests maybe she won't be with us for too much longer as well. Again, one of those, I would hate to lose her, because I think she's a great resource and a great asset to the university, to the athletic department. But she's definitely an up-and-coming athletic administrator, and I think sits a little bit in the background sometimes for some things. But I'm a big fan. I've always liked her. She's been fun to talk to.
Can certainly tell you that the various press boxes that Jared and I happen to frequent in past seasons, we certainly have seen her quite active in them, not only as a participant, but handling other little small details. She always seems to be very quite busy, but is never too busy to have a kind word to you
Right.
or a greeting. So I think that's pretty cool. And I would hate to lose her. I certainly would.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly would not want to hold her back because I think she could be a very good athletic director at a program someday. Absolutely so.
Absolutely.
Jared, you've gone out on the limb again. No stranger to wild and sometimes a bit controversial predictions and suggestions. He has taken on the Kreskin magic ball aspect of picking team captains for various women's sports. A bit of homework might have suggested to him that women's basketball had already done this, but yet he still boldly went forth not knowing that and predicted the captains. And hey, you're batting 500. You got one out of the two right, so we'll give you credit for that. Okay, let's talk a little. Let's kind of do this as okay. Let's take us through the various sports that you suggested team captains for. Let's just have a little quick discussion here amongst the four of us on your selections. Okay.
Sure. So I listed them more in order of how we typically see them in appearance throughout the season. Start with the fall, moving on to winter, then spring. First one I listed was field hockey, which all of our field hockey captains, I believe, have graduated. So that does leave it open. Field hockey is one of those sports that sometimes they have two, sometimes they have three team captains. So I went on it and listed a few. I thought Mechie was a pretty safe pick, just with how much the team relies on her, and obviously Hollenbar being the goalkeeper, and we've seen goalkeepers in the past listed as team captains. I kind of went with those two as our main two.
I can't find any argument in those two. Quite honestly, I can't. Jeff, you watch a little field hockey from time to time. Is there anyone else you want to toss in there to that mix?
Yeah, well, just I think you mentioned that Hollenbart graduated. Is that correct? So you went with.
Oh, sorry, that would have been Sam Minrath.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say you had me confused there for a second. Yeah, so Hollenbart graduated, so I think you put up Sam Minrath as a possible replacement for that. Likely will be the starting goalkeeper in that position. I maybe Sam's she played her first season last season after a redshirt year, so. Perhaps she may be a little young for that. They may go with some different players as a result. But I think in general, you probably have some pretty good. I generally agree with the assessment there.
I think Erica Cooper's name we could toss in there. Certainly a very good midfielder. She's a local girl, very, very approachable, very, very friendly. Seems to be pretty much of a on-the-field coach. Case, any suggestions on this? I know it's not one of the big sports you follow, but anyone else you want to toss to the mix on this?
I'm gonna probably refute Jeff a little bit, just because I don't think age is hugely an impact when picking defensive captains, especially goalkeepers in sports where goalkeepers exist. They have a huge role on the field, basically leading an entire group of the team. We've seen Gabby Cazellas be named a captain as a young goalkeeper as well. It's just I think it's a confidence booster as much as anything to say, we need you to be a leader on the field. Here's a title that ensures you are a leader, kind of thing. So that's just my input on young goalkeepers being named captain.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. I've seen that a lot as well. Merely, I would not be surprised to see Sam Minrath named the captain, named one of the captains. I just also wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't. So that's a possibility. I could go either way on that one.
Okay, there you go, Justin. We've done your work for you. All you have to do is listen to what we've said. Next team, Jared, go.
Moving on to soccer, Gabby Cazellas. She was the team captain last year, starting goalkeeper. I don't think there's any doubt that she's going to remain a team captain. Then with soccer, sometimes I go sometimes 2 or 3 team captains. I thought just Amina, with a lot of the weight she's carried in the past, although she hasn't been a team captain before, she's a little soft-spoken as well, but just because of her skills and what she shows through her actions, I think she might be named a team leader, as well as Sarah Hernandez, where we have seen a lot of our center backs in the past. Most recently, Gabrielle Vincent, and then Inger Katrine Bjerke have been team captains before. I thought Sarah Hernandez has done an excellent job in her couple of years so far, commanding the backfield as well. So I put her as a good candidate.
I can find nothing wrong at all with those three right there. Let's go to the guy who knows a lot about soccer, though. Let's go to Case Hoskins. Case, what do you think about these three?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that this will be the route that the team elects to go. I think if they go with a fourth captain, you may see one of the defensive midfielders, but if you're only going 3 captains, this is a pretty solid group to choose.
Jeff, you make it unanimous?
Yeah, I can't fault these choices. Gabby Cazellas is a no-brainer. I would be mind blown if she was not selected. Amina Edgevich is, like Jared said, is a little more quiet spoken, but I've seen plenty of team captains come out and be strong team captains from a position of quiet leadership. So that's no problem there. And I think she'll do a very fine job with it. I know Sarah Hernandez a little less, but she's done a great job, and that wouldn't shock me at all. Mm-mm.
Thank us later, Coach KFD. We did the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is just put a check mark by each name there. All right, Jared, what was up next for you in your article?
The other big fall sport that we cover is volleyball. Volleyball, I think, typically just sticks with a couple team captains just because you don't have as many people on the court at a time. Obviously, Aiko Jones, she was one last year as a freshman. I kind of mentioned you don't see a lot of freshmen named team captains, but she fit the role well, and she's done everything.
I actually want
to keep that.
Jump in on that a little bit. She actually technically wasn't a team captain last year. Yeah,
was she just like
they had her
voted by the players?
No, they selected. I don't remember who they selected, but it was Tori Dilfer and somebody else, maybe Melanie. I don't remember. Aiko was what they had Aiko doing was coming out and doing the coin flip for the games, which I think I may have said early on in the season that she was a team captain because I saw that happen, but she was actually not selected as a team captain. So I do think there's a good chance she will be, but she wasn't last year. So
I'm gonna go. I'm still sticking with Aiko Jones in that position, even though now that you mentioned she was not a team captain last year, and I thought Tori Dilford being the setter. Typically, your setter is one of your team captains. We've seen that a lot in the past, so I did stick with Tori as other safe bet.
I'm gonna go to my volleyball guy. Let's go, Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree generally with that. The only thing is maybe not Aiko again because she's not a senior. This will only be her officially, I guess, her second year playing. So as a eligibility concern, she's a sophomore. She's clearly a leader on this team. I think she probably gets selected anyway. Other options, I don't know. I'm just trying to think through the roster a little bit on who else might be.
I kind of pondered possibly Mia Stander stepping in. Alexis Hamilton is another option, but both of them are fairly quiet.
Yeah, Alexis maybe. I don't think Mia Standard would be. Maybe Anna Stevenson. She'll be a senior. She had a pretty big leadership. She took on a pretty big leadership role quickly last year. Those would be the options I'd throw out there. But yeah, I tend to think that Aiko will probably be, despite being just a sophomore in eligibility.
Case, I'm pretty much just sitting here tapping my foot and nodding in agreement because I'm not that familiar with the volleyball personnel. Have you got any insights on this at all, too?
Anna Stevenson was actually a name that was coming to mind when Jeff was considering who else might be in that list. I think Tori Dilfer probably is a likely choice. I think Anna Stevenson is an interesting thought. Um, I'm not sure what typically goes into the deciding factor of who gets to be the captain on a volleyball team, who earns that honor. It's not typically position driven. It's driven a lot by who's on the court a lot and who is kind of an energetic team leader.
Right.
So I can't say that I have much in terms of prognostications for that one.
Yeah. If there is any court position aspect to this, it's that I would suspect middles probably are going to be selected less because they're only on the court half the time, almost universally, and that is Anna's position. So that might impact that a little bit. But she definitely took on very quickly a leadership role on this team last year when she came in. So it's a very real possibility.
All right, a fairly congruent suggestion compliance here on that one. Where did you go next, Jared? What sport did you take on? Because we know that women's basketball had already been decided for you. Well, by the way, you had some good suggestions there, but let's we all knew Dana. Let's talk a little bit about Kiana Smith's selection, though who was picked to be the other co-captain. I think it's a great idea, Jeff. What about you?
Yeah, sure. She's gonna be a great player this year, I think, and I have no complaints about that whatsoever. I wasn't really sure who else I would have picked beyond Dana. Dana is, like you said, that's one of those no-brainers at this point.
Elizabeth Balagoon came to mind for Jared there. Case. Maybe next year, Elizabeth is a pretty much influential person on the court.
Yeah, I think it's not common that you see pairs of guards named as co-captains unless they are just the guard pair that you think of. Russ Smith and Peyton Siva come to mind just as a pair who are inseparable. So Dana Evans is really going to take charge in that backcourt role. Elizabeth Balagoon is very much a good player. She showed that she's part of the team last year and can contribute a lot, but we didn't see a lot from her in terms of leadership potential. So not that she's not capable of it, just that it didn't really scream out that, yeah, she's a leader on the team. So I don't know. Elizabeth Balagoon didn't strike me as a captain candidate so much. Transfer probably had something to do with it. Not that transfers can't be captains, just think that may have had something to do with it in my mind.
I'll throw this one out on the either buy or pass ledger for you all. Haley Van Lith has a great chance of being a co-captain for 3 straight years after her freshman year. Are you going to buy that, Jared?
I'd like to see how she adjusts to the college game first, but I think based off of her accolades so far with her high school, that there is a good chance, and she's got a strong pull already to be a team captain for her sophomore through senior years.
What about you, Jeff? Are you buying or are you passing?
I think there's a chance of it. I suspect she probably would not be selected as a captain until maybe her junior year. But I could see 2 years pretty easily. 3 years, I think, is a little bit of a stretch.
Jeff's thinking 2-year plan instead of 3-year plan. I'm definitely going 3-year plan. I think she's got all the tools and the talents probably to step in and be a 3-year captain, I do believe. So, Casey, so you're going to make this a majority for us, or are we going to have a tiebreaker here?
No, I'm gonna buy that that she could be a 3-year captain, just based on what we've seen from her as far as being a leader after she committed, the leadership that she's shown, and the personality and everything that she's shown as she became a national face in the women's game while in high school. I think that she definitely has all the tools to be a captain. She's going to be ready to get on the floor and show that she has the talent to back up her swagger and her persona on the court, and I think that lends itself well to the opportunity to be a 3-year captain, 3-year starter, 3-year captain.
And so, Haley, if you're listening, Jeff will have a formal written apology for you to still hand to you at the start of your sophomore season, ever doubting, the 3 wise men of basketball here. Yes. All right. Since we're kind of rolling up on it a little bit, maybe Jared will hold off on the spring sports, I think, for a while here, and kind of waiting to see actually when they're going to do those.
Oh yeah, we can hold off. That's still a long time away. Probably another 9 months before spring sports start.
Yeah, and that'll give you a chance, of course, also to take a look at some other candidates for that, maybe, and shock us with your suggestions too. Gentlemen, we advertised earlier. We do have a quiz for you today. As Case and Jared try to keep Jeff winless and battle it out to see who can win today's quiz. Taking a quiz at home, remember there are 10 questions and a bonus question. You get 10 points for each correct answer during the regular part of the quiz. The bonus, you can either win 20 points or lose 20 points, or not even take the bonus question. Those are options for you all. We ask that at the end of the 10 questions. As they anticipate eagerly today's subject, I've gone back to mascots, guys.
Wow. Quick return to mascots. Okay.
Wow.
After a week off, I bounced right back into it.
Okay.
Because I was just thinking about mascots. I said, okay, let's see what we can do with them. All right. Question number 1 for you. Which one of these ACC schools has just one mascot? Is it A, Georgia Tech, B, Duke, C, Florida State, or D, North Carolina State? Let's go ahead and start with Case for the first several questions.
Oh, wow.
One mascot only. Georgia Tech, Duke,
One
Florida
mascot.
State, or NC State. They just have one mascot.
I'm gonna go with Duke.
He takes the Dukies. What do you think about that, Jared?
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, I don't really remember schools having multiple mascots, but I mean, Duke seems like the logical answer to me, so I'm in agreement with Case.
Jeff, you gonna make it a tree?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's Duke on that. I know Georgia Tech has 2. They have the Rambling Wreck and the Yellow Jackets. The others, I would be a little more hard pressed to name them. But
NC State, you definitely have Mr.
yeah,
and
Mr. and
Wolf.
Miss Wolf. Yeah, yeah.
And of course, in Florida State, you've got, of course, Chief Osceola and his trusty horse,
I
Cimarron.
thought the horse was a second one, so that's why
Yeah.
I didn't go Florida State.
The answer is, of course, B, Duke. That's right, just the Blue Devil. No little other baby devils or Mrs. Devil running around with him. He is the sole mascot. They got that one right. We hope you did it at home as well. Question number 2. He can be seen rocking these sidelines. What school is he at? Pittsburgh, Boston College, Clemson, or Syracuse? He can be seen rocking these sidelines at which school? Pittsburgh, Boston College, Clemson, or Syracuse? Case, which school?
My options are Pittsburgh, Boston College, Clemson, and Syracuse, right?
Yes, sir.
Man. I'm gonna go with Boston College.
He goes with BC. Jared, where are you going to go?
I've got it narrowed down. I feel like this is something related to some type of cat. Like cats climbing rocks, I think is what you were. I could be totally
I'm not really sure what you're going with on this question. So
Oh, it'll become obviously clear to you, but go ahead.
But I'm going to go with Pitt.
He goes, A, Pittsburgh.
yeah, and
Where are you gonna go?
I was similarly befuddled by the question, but I kind of was going for Pitt as well. So we'll say that.
I think it's the mascot's name, right?
The official name of the Pittsburgh Panther is Rock the Panther.
Okay.
boy.
Ah,
Whew.
you guys guessed and got
Lucky
it
guess,
right,
yeah.
but wrong answer, wrong reason.
I
didn't think
was-
that was his. I didn't think that was his name.
That's kind of
Rock.
what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure.
Rock the Panther. And the next time you see him on the sidelines, yell out, "Hey, I rock!" Very good. Case takes the X on that with Jeff and, of course, Jared are still perfect after 2 questions. Question number 3. We have the purple ace. Who got dealt the purple ace? Was it Illinois, Iowa, UNLV, or Evansville? What say you, Case?
I say Evansville.
He goes with Evansville. D. Jared, you in agreement with that, or where are you going to go?
We've played them enough that I agree it's Evansville.
And I think, Jeff, you're probably going to go.
Yeah, Evansville, definitely. The Purple Aces.
That is correct.
It's a
and
great
you-
mascot.
Definitely named after Prince.
They are known as the Purple Aces, and the mascot's actual name is Ace Purple. How about that?
Yeah,
for
all
you?
right. Yeah.
3 for 3 for the guys. Hope you got that one right at home as well. We're going to now switch up the batting order a little bit. This time, Jared will go first, followed by Jeff and Case. Which one of these, Jared, is not a mascot? Which one of these is not a mascot? Is it A, Gaylord the Camel, B, Colonel Cobb, C, Trumpy the Prez, or D, Ophelia the Purple Cow? Which one of these is not a mascot? Gaylord the Camel, Colonel Cobb, Trumpy the Prez, or Ophelia the Purple Cow?
I'm gonna have to go with Trumpy the Prez if we're talking about college mascots, right? I mean, I'm
Yes,
sure
sir.
there's some type of like somebody's making fun of Trump in a way, but I don't remember a college mascot being named Trumpy the Prez.
He goes with C, Trumpy the Prez. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. If it is, it may be a little unfortunate over the past 4 years to have had that. So
Case, you going to go with the boys here?
Yeah, I'm also going C.
And C is correct. Yes, there is actually a Colonel Cobb, but it's Kernal, as in a corn kernel. Gaylord the Camel, of course, at the Campbell College. And
Of course.
Ophelia the Purple Cow does exist. I can't remember the school, but yes, it was not hallucinations or the DTs. You actually saw a purple cow on those sidelines, guys. All right, the boys got that one right. And we go to question number 5. This school has a giant stalk of wheat on the sidelines. A giant stalk of wheat. What school is it? Iowa State, B, Wichita State, C, Oral Roberts, or D, Kearney State? A giant stalk of wheat. Who do you think it is, Jared? Your choices again: Iowa State, Wichita State, Oral Roberts, or Kearney State.
This one, I was hoping there'd be like a clear cut answer. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Wichita State. I really don't know.
He goes with B, Wichita State. What do you think, Jeff?
yeah, I believe it's Wichita State.
Case?
Yeah, I believe their name, the Shockers, is from a shock of wheat, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the process of
And
shocking.
he explains it perfectly. Yes, it is. Wichita State. The Shockers. A stalk of wheat runs the sidelines, looking at, of course, for thrashing machines that are in the near vicinity. And he's also known as Woo Stock, Wichita. Yes. Okay, so the guys get this one perfect. I can see right now I should have made this a much tougher quiz, but we'll continue on. Question number 6. They are the Hoosiers now, but they actually had this mascot in the 60s. They're the Hoosiers now, but they had this mascot in the 60s. What did the Hoosiers have as a mascot? A race car, a bison, Barney Fife, or John Mellencamp? Who was the previous Hoosier mascot? A race car, a bison, Barney Fife, or John Mellencamp? Jared, what do you got?
I always thought they were just the Hoosiers. I don't know, a bison maybe?
He's taking a guess on the Bison. Jeff, what do you think?
I'm gonna guess Bison as well because I don't think race car is likely. I'm not sure of that though.
No love for Barney Fife here. Case, where are you going to go?
I'm going to go with race car because the Indy 500 has always been incredibly popular, particularly in the 60s. So,
Okay,
Go
so
with that
we've got two Bisons, one race car. It is the Bison B. It is part of the actual state of Indiana state logo. There is a bison in the state logo. They adapted the name the Bison. Before they just said, hey, everybody calls us Hoosiers anyway, let's just go with Hoosiers. When they changed it, Barney Fife sadly was not considered. Neither was John Mellencamp, who wrote some great songs.
A little new for, yeah.
Yeah, but as a young man, though, he attended a lot of, well, I don't know if he did or not. Okay, we will now switch the order again. This time, Jeff will start us out, followed by Case and Jared as we go into question number 7. This team may be dropping their current mascot logo. Who is it? The Washington Redskins, the Atlanta Braves, the Chicago Blackhawks, or the Chicago White Sox? Which could be dropping their logo? The Washington Redskins, Atlanta Braves, Chicago Blackhawks, or Chicago White Sox?
I haven't heard talk about much of any of these actually doing it, although there's been a lot of discussion over the years on Washington Redskins. I'm going to, in Braves maybe as well, but I'm going to go with the Washington Redskins.
He goes with the Washington Redskins. Case, what's your thoughts on it?
unless something's changed in the last week, I don't think Dan Snyder has had any sort of come to Jesus moment. So I don't think it's the Redskins, but that's tough. I was under the impression that the Blackhawks had the approval of the local tribes. I'm gonna guess the Braves, and only because another Braves baseball team has recently changed their name.
He's going to go with B, the Braves. Jared, what do you think?
I'm in agreement with Case because I remember seeing something on Twitter about the tomahawk chop issue with the Braves. I don't know if they're changing the name or just getting rid of the tomahawk chop, but I'm going to stick with that.
We've got 2 Braves, 1 Redskins. The answer is A, the Washington Redskins, due to over the last week or so increased public conjecture and fear about things. They are wondering if the Redskin is any more an appropriate mascot for a team.
Hey Dan, you don't have to wonder anymore.
Yeah, we're
know.
pretty clear on that at this point, honestly.
We've got the answer to your question.
Yes, indeed. It's the Redskins. They may be changing. Although, what would they change their name to? The Senators? I mean,
Those Spuds.
yeah. The
Just something
whatever.
totally unrelated,
yeah, the Washington Capitals. But I think that already existed. Okay, we've gone through 7 questions here so far, gentlemen. Jeff, who got off to the big start last week before folding at the end, is a perfect 7 for 7. Jared, weighing in at 60%. Case praying for a miracle. He's got 3 wrong answers out of 7 questions. It has been a rough quiz for him. Jeff, question number 8. You start us out. No Bulldogs on this campus. What campus am I talking about? Drake, Georgia, Texas A&M, or Fresno State? Where are there no Bulldogs? Drake, Georgia, Texas A&M, or Fresno State?
I think it's Texas A&M.
He's going to go with A&M. Okay, so you're in agreement? What do you think? Drake,
A&M.
Georgia.
A&M.
He goes A&M. Jared?
Consensus, yeah, I'm with A&M.
They all go with
Home to
A&M?
a beautiful border collie.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Cool.
Texas A&M is the Collie Dog. That is correct. They
Nice.
also have a graveyard for all the previous Collie Dog mascots in the end zone of Kyle Field down there outside the stadium with their
It's
names
only a little creepy.
Outside the stadium, Jared. Jeez.
outside. It's not in the actual end
In
zone,
the
Jared.
end zone, they got headstones they gotta dodge while they're.
And they fell over collie 4 making the catch. Oh no. It is a collie dog. So, there we go. The guys got that one right for question number 8. Let's go to question number 9. Bucky Badger can be seen at A. Michigan, B. Wisconsin, C. Oregon State, or D. Utah. Where is that old Bucky Badger at? Michigan, Wisconsin, Oregon State, or Utah? What do you say, Jeff?
I still think of one of the earliest internet memes, and I think of the Badger dance. But so Wisconsin.
Here goes to Wisconsin. Case, what do you say?
Yep, the big block W.
And Jared, you think these guys are right or wrong?
The Wisconsin Badgers. I'm
Yes,
gonna go
it
with
is
Wisconsin.
indeed. That is the correct answer. B. Wisconsin, Bucky Badger. So, but I might throw you off with the Oregon State Beaver, but you guys are sharp. You did not fall for it. We come to the final question in the regular round. Jeff, perfect. Jared's got one wrong. Case praying for a miracle. Question number 10. And this time we'll start out, I think, with Jared. Let's go with Jared for question number 10. Pistol Pete, in his costume uniform, has all on this uniform but A. a cowboy hat, B. a weapon, C. a badge, or D. a lasso. Pistol Pete, the Oklahoma State mascot. What doesn't he have? Cowboy hat, a weapon, a badge, or a lasso?
I think there would be some real irony if weapon was the answer here, but I'm gonna guess a badge.
Jeff goes with the badge. Case, what do you think?
This one's tough. I'm trying to imagine. I know people who went to Oklahoma State, so I've seen a lot of pictures across my social media feeds of Pistol Pete in various different outfits. I don't remember a rope, so I'm gonna go with a lasso.
Case goes with the lasso. Jared, what say you?
I only remember his big hat, but yeah, with what Jeff said, I think it'd be ironic if there wasn't a weapon. So I feel like maybe to keep people from tripping, possibly a lasso. I'm gonna stick with Case on that one.
You're going to go lasso as well?
Yeah, I'll stick with lasso.
And D, a lasso is correct. There is no lasso on Pistol Pete. He does have a badge. He's got a weapon, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's a styrofoam weapon, though, so don't worry. And he, of course, wears the cowboy.
I don't see the badge.
I don't
in this
either.
picture.
Yeah.
Oh, but the person does. The person has one.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're looking at Wikipedia? Yeah.
The person does have.
Oh, you guys are cheating and looking at
Not until after we answer. Not until after we answer.
Just now after we answered.
Yeah.
Rebuttal denied, sir. We come to a highly contested then results of the regular round. Or Jeff is at 90. Jared is at 90. And Case, needing a miracle here. He's only got 60. The bonus question is upon you. First of all, Jeff is one of the co-leaders. Are you going to take the bonus?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I got 4 wrong? I thought I only got 3 wrong.
Yes, you have 6 out of 9, sir, or 6 out of 10. That's 7 out of 10. I'm sorry. You got 70. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I misread. You are at 70. Pardon me.
I'm within striking distance here.
You are indeed. Jared, Jeff is taking the bonus. Are you going to risk the bonus?
Let's do it. All or nothing.
He said, showing up in case you need that bonus.
Yeah, the best I can. Yeah, the best I can hope for if I don't go for it is a 3-way tie if they both get it wrong. So yeah, I'm gonna go for it.
You can pick up 20 points in the bonus, or you can lose 20 points in the bonus. All 3 contestants taking the bonus. Your bonus question is, what is a Hoya? What is a Hoya? Is it A, a bird, B, a squirrel, C, a bulldog, or D, a preacher? A Hoya, bird, squirrel, bulldog, or preacher? Jeff, start us out. What's a Hoya?
I'm gonna go with bulldog.
Eagles will see bulldog. Jared?
I feel like back in the Big East days, they had some type of like bulldog or something, right?
He's
I'll
going with
stick
the
with
bulldog.
bulldog too.
Case you've had a chance to Wikipedia. What is it?
I did not Wikipedia this. Um, I think that's the right answer, but to be a contrarian, because it's my only hope of winning. What are my other three options? What sounds the most likely that's not the correct
Is a
answer?
Hoya a bird? Is a Hoya a squirrel? Is it a bulldog or is it a preacher?
I'm going to go with bird, because it's the only other one that makes sense.
He takes a vain attempt to try and catch the boys and fails miserably. It is, of course, a bulldog.
Yep.
Hoya, the Georgetown Bulldog Hoya.
I'd like to put it on the record in like the margins that I got that right. Like,
Yeah,
I
you knew it was, but you're strategically guessing. Yes.
have to.
Well, next week when we review the notes from the last
Yeah.
radio show, we will make sure and put that out there.
Like a 90, not 50, but
With an asterisk in there. Case has a disputed score of anywhere from 90 to 50. You name it, I don't know. I don't really care. But Jeff, or
hi.
Jeff and Jeff.
Jeff.
or Jared and Jeff, excuse me, are tied here with 110.
I'm still claiming I got them perfect, but I think there are. So I was looking at more pictures of the live Pistol Pete that they have at the games. Sometimes does have a badge, but it's not always. It depends. Over time, it's changed.
Have you ever seen a Pistol Pete with a lasso, sir?
No, I haven't seen it with a lasso, but I'm saying that the
Ever with
badge
a lasso.
can be right.
It's a
But
controversial
anyway.
question there.
Yeah.
We're obviously going to have to take this one to the Cardinal Couple Supreme Court to come up with a decision.
I'll take a
We'll have fun later.
tie win. I'm totally okay with the result, but yeah.
It's a shame there's no playoff question for you guys, but I could not come up with one. So you'll have to share the one-aired toothpick holding bear this week, fellows. Congratulations on a good round. And even with Wikipedia, Case comes in last. So there you go.
Okay.
Fellas,
Arguing the point.
a fun show today indeed. Let's get into our final thoughts. Case, since you finished last, we'll let you go first on final thoughts today. Go ahead.
I'm very interested in how things go with sporting events, as there were a ton of reports that came in yesterday of professional athletes with positive infection tests, as well as the college case numbers growing. So very intrigued to see how this is going to go moving forward. I recommend everyone stay safe and wear a mask.
I think I saw the MLB is shutting down spring training again.
Yeah, summer training.
Summer training, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a nervous time indeed, Case, with many states now reporting a uptick in cases that have been found to be positive. We have to be careful out there, folks. Jared, what you get for a final thought?
It was nice to have a vacation. Also nice to be back in town where people respect that there's a pandemic going on and know how to social distance and wear masks.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'll get into that a bit too. What you got, Jeff?
Yeah, I go back to our two softball players in Florida and hope that they're staying safe down there. I think the overnight numbers from Florida were, again, a record number of cases announced, and their infection rate on testing is up in like 12 to 13%. So that's pretty scary. So, yeah, I hope they're being safe and get back to us okay.
I do indeed, sir, as well. Final thoughts here, having been someone who's been practicing social distancing quite a bit since the onslaught of the coronavirus. I was shocked into a new reality last week when the wife and I went on vacation. We did spend a lot of time out in the wilderness, you could say, out in the backwoods of the Cherokee, the Great Smokies, other national parks in the area. But in those occasions where we had to go into town to food, to get things, to get gasoline, things like that. I was totally shocked and amazed that no one is wearing masks out in public. A very, very insignificant minority of people are, at least in that area. I pray that this is not the case in other parts of the country. I somehow feel it is not. And I also wonder, what in the hell are they thinking in Tulsa tonight? Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. All right, Jeff, you and Case have been practicing a duet on Hazel's song. Look what we can do, Louisville. Hit it, fellas.
Yeah, we don't have a song.
Darn.
So
A unanimous no.
Well, I got that question wrong. You all got it right. So you. All right, Jeff, get us out of here.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. It's been fun.